All right. Thank you guys for being here. We're on another episode of Grow the Game, and we have Broken Arrow 2B senior Chloe Day and head coach Ian Bullen. And we got some questions that I think people are going to want to hear from you guys about and kind of, see from a really large school perspective and also from an athlete perspective. Ian, you've been at small schools and big schools in your career, and what are some differences that you've seen?
Well, I will say that probably the biggest difference in jumping from a smaller school, I was at Coweta for 16 years, and then jumping over here to Broken Arrow is there was so much more help that was provided to me, so much more in the way of a bigger coaching staff, a bigger athletic department, a lot more trainers that were available to the kids. I mean, there were a lot of things that were taken off of my plate when I came to a bigger school that really allow a coach to just have a much better opportunity to just work with the kids and work with the program and not have to worry about the kind of the things on the edge that are important. But now I've got more help in that area. I think that was probably the biggest thing that I noticed when I made that jump from a smaller school to a bigger school.
Yeah, I think when Skylar asked me this same question, that was one of my answers was resources. It's unbelievable the difference that you see. Just like you said, it kind of frees you up and gives you opportunities that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Absolutely. And it's the way it is when you're in a smaller school. You're just expected. I mean, you're just expected to do more, and it's not that it's wrong. It's just the way it is, and that is one of the big advantages of being at a bigger school. You seem to just have a little bit more help. People are there for you, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah, Chloe, what's it like for you? As an athlete, as a student, to be at the biggest school in the state?
As an athlete, I think it's really, really competitive. Like tryouts, you're going up against more people than you would at a smaller school. And just as a student, like you see new people every day, like different people that you didn't see the day before. And so it's just it's fun and it can be interesting at times.
Yeah, I know. I graduated school with 60 some kids, and we knew everybody. And at BA, there is not a chance that you know everybody. So it's interesting. I don't even know what that would feel like to be in that kind of environment.
It is very different, that's for sure. And but I mean, life's going to be like that too. I mean, you're gonna get out into the world after high school, and it's a big world. So there's a lot to be said for big schools that prepare you for what you're getting ready to see next.
Mm-hmm. So this is, all about growing the game and making it stronger and wider here in Oklahoma. Coach Bullen, what's something that you think that on the coaching side of it that we can do to make it stronger and wider and better?
I think one of the biggest things that we can do is we can get it introduced to younger kids. I think that's one of the things that our state is doing a much better job in now than, say, 10, 15 years ago. There was no such thing as Little League Volleyball 10, 15 years ago. I mean, it was very, very rare for someone to have an opportunity to play. There's Little League everything else. I mean, almost everything that we do, there's Little League baseball and softball, but for our kiddos to have the kind of leveled playing ground with players from other states, they've got to start playing younger, and we have to, as coaches, we have to encourage that. If we have to go out of our way to help run it, then we have to do that as well. I mean, even before club gets started, if we can get kiddos started at a younger age, we as coaches will have a better advantage, I think, going forward, and it will make an impact as a whole on volleyball in our entire state.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most common things we hear about what we can do is we've just got to start younger. And we didn't have BAVC and 918 and these places that are willing to go do those things and put them on and have some fun with it and just get them introduced. One of my biggest things I think is once you've played a sport, let's just say baseball, for 5 or 6 years leading up to that seventh, eighth grade year, you've now told yourself, I'm a baseball player.
Sure.
I've dedicated this amount of time, this effort. That's me. So now these kids identify with it, and if we're not able to at least give them the option at that age, then we're getting behind.
I do think that we have, now more than ever, we have kids that start playing at a pretty young age. I mean, I'm sure you started pretty young, and it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, there was a time when we were having middle school tryouts, and we were introducing volleyball to kids in the middle school. That was the first time a lot of them had ever touched volleyball. Was coming into the seventh or maybe even the eighth grade. I mean, heck, you probably even had a few that had never touched a volleyball until the ninth grade, and I think that's kind of a thing of the past here. We've as a whole, we've done a much better job of getting kids started at a younger age.
Yeah, it's definitely trending in the right way. Chloe, what's something you think you can do or that athletes can do to continue to help grow this game?
I think working outside of just practice or like games and stuff, like I think there's a lot more that we can do to improve or maybe even take it a little bit more seriously than we have. And I mean, still have fun with it, but I think taking it more seriously could definitely benefit.
Yeah. Coach Bullen, you've had a pretty good run since I've known you, really, the entire time. What do you think is something or a couple of things that kind of keeps your program being successful year after year?
I'd be lying if I'd say that the size of our town didn't have anything to do with it. It surely does. I mean, being that we are a big school, a big town, we have a lot of kiddos that want to take part in volleyball, and I think that's great. I mean, and like we just got through saying, it started with a lot of them when they were at a pretty young age. So being in a town the size of Broken Arrow, there's always going to be an abundance of kids that are going to feed our program. But we've got to also go out of our way to make sure that our program is something that appeals to those kids. We've got to do things beyond just the lineup and practice and play. And a lot of the things that we do in the summer really attract people. They love to, know that they can take part in summer practices and camps and summer leagues. And, we want to make the program as a whole successful. And to do that, I think we just got to go out of our way a little bit more than we had to in the past. And you got to make it something that is not just something that the kids are going to play because that's their game. You got to make it something that attracts them and that they really look forward to. You got to make it fun for them. You got to show them that there is school pride in being on a winning team. And we preach to these kiddos continuously about there's a standard in Broken Arrow, and we want to keep that standard, and we want to have success. And a lot of our kids, starting in the seventh grade with our early school teams, they jump onto teams that are successful. They jump onto teams that win, and I think winning breeds winning. And we're going to keep pushing it in that direction. And we want our kiddos to not apologize if our team is really, really good. We expect our team to be really good. We know that there's others that are out there that are going to give us a great challenge every single year, and we're going to keep pushing to try to compete with those guys year in and year out.
Yeah, I think something I've talked about, and I use your school a lot, is that your ninth grades and your JV teams, they're not there just for fun. It is we are going to be the best JV team. I know I'm not on varsity, but I know I'm pushing myself to be varsity one day. We are going to take pride in being the best JV, the best ninth grade, eighth grade, whatever it is. And it's, I think, a different mindset when it comes to very successful teams and how their seventh, eighth, ninth JV look.
Absolutely. And our kiddos have had some good success in those sub varsity squads. And I mean, to them, they're going to treat it just like any other team they're on here in Broken Arrow. They want to win, and they want to win a lot. And they know that in winning and in playing well, that's going to give them the chance to get promoted to that next team. And, that opportunity for lateral movement from the freshman team to the JV or the JV to the varsity, that's great incentive for a kiddo to play hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, Chloe, I want your perspective on what it's like being on a team that's so competitive year in and year out, and kind of just what does that look like from an athlete standpoint, kind of the culture and the attitude?
You're always working towards that top starting spot that you can get. Like, it's really competitive, and I think it just shows in practice, like, what your attitude is like. It needs to be good, and how hard and how much effort you put in to that spot. So.
Yeah. Chloe, kind of have some fun with this. What is there a team that you look forward to playing each year? I mean, is there a high school team that you look at and go, I can't wait to play them?
Well, there's a few of those. My top one's probably Bishop Kelly. They're really good. And then, Jinx, those are both kind of up there. Jinx is really, really good, and probably one of our biggest competitors and rivals. And then Owasso, of course. They're always going to be up there too, because, in just about every sport, those three and Union are our biggest rival teams. So definitely fun whenever you're going up against them, and then you take them down time after time. So
Yeah, so it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you look forward to playing good teams that's going to push you, and when you win, it's earned. It's something you had to fight to get and to receive, rather than just kind of be given this win.
for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a relief, or what's the word? Like, it's just really, what is the word? Like, it's just a good feeling, because, they're really good. They're high up there. We're high up there. So it's just some good competition.
Uh-oh.
Lights went out. Stand up.
We're having
there we go.
difficulties.
Darn technology.
Coach Bullen, is there a team or two that you're circling on the schedule for next year that you're looking at as a marquee game?
Well, there's obviously some games that are bigger than others, but I'd be lying if I didn't say every single one of them. I take them all really seriously, and I know that there are teams that we are supposed to beat, and there's teams that are gonna be tough. But when you take one for granted, you're getting ready to take one on the chin. So I do circle them all. There's a few more that probably get my attention a little bit more. Anybody that's kind of been there and done that, those teams that went to state the year before, or maybe a team that won state the year before, those guys are going to get some extra special attention for sure. And, like Chloe said, we obviously have some natural school rivals, and it's fun to play those guys. Makes your heart beat just a little bit faster especially when you're on the road. You go to a place like a Jinx or an Owasso, but I get fired up to play everybody. We could play the smallest school in the state, and it counts the same as playing the biggest school in the state. So I want to make sure that I give them all proper attention, and make sure that we're prepared to play them all. But yeah, it is fun when you play those big ones, those big rivals, and we've had some crazy good matches over the years with a lot of those guys.
Yeah, coming into the Frontier Valley Conference myself, it's a dogfight.
There's not a lot of nights off, are there?
No, there's not many that are rest up nights and got them in the bag kind of days. It's a grind, and you better, like you said, give everyone attention that they deserve. Otherwise, you may be slipping up.
Yeah, especially on the road. I don't know what it is about. You go on the road, and you better be wired and ready to go all night long. So
Yep.
There's a few places that I have gone to that, I have not had near the success that I would like to, and usually it's at somebody else's gym, but they'll make it tough on you. But that's what we play. I mean, those are the kind of teams you play that you want to get up and get hard and tough with. So.
Yeah. Chloe, I'll go to you first, and it's going to be the same question, but if there was an organization of some sort that was giving out these Player of the Week honors and kind of giving games of the week and teams on the rise, these honors and awards that you see, I think, for other sports, what do you think that would do for the sport of volleyball?
I think it would 100% push athletes way harder than we are now. Like, you want to get put out there to be known as the best of the best, and so I think it would make us work a lot harder, put a lot more effort in, even outside of practice and stuff like that. Like, it would definitely take up a lot more time.
Yeah. So, Coach Bullen, what do you feel that would do for the sport?
Well, I mean, I think obviously it'd be wonderful. Our school does a great job of our sports information. People do a really good job of, covering our matches, and they'll put things out on social media, and they're very good that way. But it would be nice for some kind of a publication. I see it in the paper all the time of, there's some kind of big thing for basketball, and there's a big thing for football, and there's an awful lot of girls in our part of the state that play volleyball. It would be great for us to have some kind of a publication that would recognize them. And, they certain things do cover it a bit, but maybe not quite as well as we would like to see. I think it would be great incentive for the kids. I mean, like she said, they would love those kinds of honors and awards. And, just everybody loves to see their name in the paper if it's in there for the right reason. So it would be good for our kids to get recognized.
Yeah, I look at, colleges anyways, as you see this, setter of the week and, team of the week, and they won this great upset win in 5, and it's just cool to see. And I have no dog in the fight when it comes to that, but I just still think it's awesome to see, and
Yes.
give those kids, like you said, some recognition that they deserve, because these kids work just as hard as anybody else.
Sure enough. Absolutely.
Here's a little chance for you to get in good graces here, Chloe. What's something that you think Coach Bullen does a good job of as a head coach?
I think Coach Bullen's really good at encouraging and pep talks. Like, for me personally, my worst game this season was Bixby, and he pulled me out and he told me, he was like, he just sat there and encouraged me until I felt better about myself. And I know if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be as confident in myself as I am whenever I play volleyball now.
Yeah. Coach Bullen, what do you think Chloe does a good job of?
Well, I'll tell you this: Chloe's tough as nails, and she is mentally tough, and she's one of those players that you can count on when things get really, really difficult. Every now and then she needs to be reminded how mentally tough she is, but she can get it done. And I tell you, that's one of the things that she has above a lot of the girls on our team, is that kind of mental toughness will make a big difference, and it's infectious. When you see a player playing like that, the other players, they're gonna grab on and follow, and that's the kind of player we like. We like a player that can obviously make all the plays physically, and she can surely do that. But that extra edge and mental toughness, that's not something that we can teach. A lot of kids, they either have it or they don't have it, and she's got it.
So maybe to Chloe's point first, how important do you think it is for a coach to, the way I look at it, is coach an athlete mentally and emotionally, not worrying about the X's and O's, but making sure your emotions are where they need to be and where you are mentally once you hit that court? How important is that?
It's pretty important because, I mean, if you're down and you lose a set, like, it's always good to have a coach that's there to remind you of your physical abilities and your mental abilities. Like, it's always nice to have someone right behind you making sure that you're always, like, you're going to be in line and you're going to do what you need to do as long as you're there fully.
Yeah. Same thing to you, Coach Bull. I mean, how important do you feel like that mental emotional aspect is? Because I just see when I watch games and I watch other coaches, they get so caught up in X's and O's, and you got to block this kid, and they're running this, and it's hard to pour out of an empty cup when you're emotionally, mentally out of it. It's hard to be in it.
Well, I think any player that's ever been on any team that I've coached, and maybe even more so now than ever, they know that I'm an emotional guy. I mean, but I don't ever quit. I don't ever quit coaching, and I want the kids to see that. I don't care what the score is. They're going to see me trying to get everything I can out of them, and I try to stay as positive as I can, and I try to encourage those kiddos, and I try not to freak out. I can't say that I always don't freak out, but if the coach can keep his head about him, then typically the players are going to keep their heads too, and that mental part of the game is big time, especially when you're evenly matched. If you're physically evenly matched with someone and you've got the middle edge, you're going to win. And that's a key ingredient in the success that we've had. Is a lot of our teams have been mentally tough, and we've had really good leaders through the years that I've been here at Broken Arrow. We've had really, really good players that have been mentally checked in. And when they're checked in, like I said, it's infectious. They pull everybody else in there, and you get a good mentally tough team, and you're gonna win some games.
So I guess there's people probably going to watch this and wonder what can they do as a coach to help keep those kids where they need to mentally. Like what is maybe something you do or a strategy?
Well, I think the big thing is you got to come up with some kind of a relationship with your players. They've got to know you and they've got to trust you. You can't just be the guy that stands on the sideline and yells all the time. You got to be the guy that's there when things are going well, so that when things don't go so well, they're going to trust what you say. And that trust level is so important. I think it's the one thing that any coach, whether you coach for a long time or you're just brand new starting out in this game, if you can develop a level of trust with your players. I'm not saying that you have to be their best friend. That's not what we're going to. But what we got to do is we got to let those kiddos know that we've got their back. We got to let the kiddos know that they're prepared and that they can, all this preparation that we've done, they can take on any challenge, and they can take on that challenge with the mental confidence that they can have success.
Yeah, that's good. I think, we definitely see with coaching clinics and just, when coaches talk, they really focus on serving and blocking. And I mean, how many times do you see a session over, trust or,
Exactly. You can teach all those X's and O's, but you get that kiddo back there on that serving line at the end of the match when you're at 14-14, and you better be mentally tough. You know what I mean? That's going to be the difference. It doesn't really come down to X's and O's when you get in those tight spots. I mean, it's nice to have the skills to be able to do it, but you got to have the belief to do it as well.
Yep, that's some top-notch info right there, people. Take it from
Great job.
Bullen. Last question to kind of have some fun with it. Which do you think is better, a huge dig or a huge kill, Chloe?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know. It's really nice to see like when there's like a really good dig off of a really good kill. I think that's definitely like very awing in a way. But a really, really good kill like in front of the 10-foot line, like that's also really fun to see. And I don't know, it just kind of like impresses you and makes you want to be that way. So
Yeah, I was curious where you would go with it, because you're the intermediate person between, you want somebody getting up some digs so that you can divvy out some kills, and
yeah,
it is a tough one. Coach Bullen, what do you think?
I'll take block. Cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Now I tell you, you're gonna light up a gym when you make a big swing, but there's a lot of things that have to go right for that to happen. You're gonna have to have typically a really, really good pass, a really, really good set. I mean, there's a lot of people that have to do their job when you get a good dig, it's amazing. Sometimes it's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time. I've seen some of the greatest digs, and I'll pat the girl on the back and say, "Nice dig. I wish you would have seen it." Their eyes are closed and their heads are turned, but in order to get up there and knock that big kill down, you got to have a lot of things lined up, and a lot of people have to do their job. So they all get me fired up. I do love a good block. I love a good dig, and I just watching the girls be athletes. It's just great when they get to show off, and that big swing or that big dig or that big block is them doing their job well. I love it.
Yeah, it's a culmination of every ball and every opportunity they've seen before come to fruition right then and there. And like you said, it's awesome to see them see it pay off. They see it pay off, and
yes,
get to have a little joy from that moment.
Sure.
So, well, hey, I appreciate you both being on here and giving us some good info and insights, and wish you guys the best of luck this upcoming year. And like I said, I just appreciate you all being on here.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having us, and I think you're doing an awesome thing. Love to help.
Appreciate it.